Right, okay, guys, welcome to SID show number 6. It's been a wee while since we've done one of these. I think it was the 3rd of September, if I'm not mistaken, when we last did this. They have proved rather popular. So we're back again. We've got the old gang back again, and I think it's going to be quite a long one. So to kick things off, we're going to go with Mr. Lukozer. What is your tune number 1?
Right, lucky me. Right, well, I got a bit of a mixture. Yep, old, new, some covers, some original. So yeah,
I'm the same actually. Yeah.
We're gonna start. If I can actually, yeah, I haven't even brought it up yet. It's going well. Right, we're going to start with a SID that I suspect a lot of people are going to be saying it's about fucking time, because well, it's one of the big guns. It is Martin Galway, and from 1985. Yeah, at long last, in the 6th video, it's from Rambo, but it's not the loader. This is my particular favourite piece of music from this game. So this is, I think this is the high score music. There we go. The classic of all classics.
I'll let Panther go first.
No argument from me. Now, I was planning, and I haven't, so that's good. I was planning on doing something very similar. I was thinking about doing Rambo, and I was also not going to do the loading theme, and I was going to go for the in-game tune. So it's actually quite amusing that you've done it. In the end, I decided not to because I found a different tune I wanted to use. But yeah, that's quite funny. That's exactly what I was thinking yesterday. But yeah, that is that's a classic tune. I incorporated that in I think it was SID Effects 5. I did like a Rambo medley of everything, and
yeah, the SID's of War one, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, that's a tune you have to have in there.
Is that based on it? Is that a cover of something? Is it? I'm not familiar with it.
Well, I've always assumed that all of the music is based in somewhere or other on the soundtrack, but I have never seen the film, so I haven't got the faintest idea.
Good film, actually. Yeah, better than the bloody game, but
yeah, I'm not a big fan of the game myself. The music, of course, is superb, but yeah, the game is not one that has ever really grabbed me.
I've got to say, I mean, I'm a massive Martin Galway fan, but I found that quite underwhelming, if I'm honest.
Well, it's very early because it's 85. There's almost no filters used at all in that piece. I don't even know if there are any. In fact, I think throughout that entire SID file, with was it 16 16 sub tunes within it. I don't think he uses filters much at all. I don't think he'd got into like the heavy use of them at this sort of stage. So, and compared to a lot that we played, you know, in previous videos, it is very simple. You only have to look at the oscilloscope display. It's not using any particularly complex, you know, sound waves. They're all very basic. But it does go to show that, you know, you don't have to use all sorts of like technical tricks and wizardry in there. If you've got, you know, the ability to compose music, which, let's face it, is the most important thing, it can sound great no matter what it is you're using.
Yeah, don't think I've actually ever heard that before. I've never a fan of the game, so I don't think I ever actually got to the high score table because of that, for that very reason.
Okay, you must have been seriously shit at the game then.
No,
I think
that's why I never played it.
It gives you your top like 100 scores. I think you only have to be able to get like the first extra weapon, and you're guaranteed to be on the high score.
Oh mate, I loved the game. I loved the soundtracks, and being an 80s kid, you know, I was about 13 when the Rambo film come out, so I was totally bought into it. I love the film Rambo because of how ostentatiously stupid it is. It's brilliant. It's worth a look for it. It really is. Just for like, I can't believe they made this, but they did.
Yeah. Well, I do like plenty of films that are like that. And because it does show how simple the game was. That the SID file is something, isn't it? Something like about 17K or something. It's a pretty big old SID file for a game of any sort of age, let alone back then.
Well, that's bigger than some of the ones we've played with samples and that in. So,
And was that for all seven tracks? Was it? I take it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's everything, including the loader.
No, good stuff. Right, number one. Right, to myself. Now I've got to say, I spent all last night just listening to SID music. Trying
it's going to be
come up.
Oxygen 6, isn't it?
Yeah,
Well, that was a reserve. Hence the reason I was asking. I actually picked 6, and I've reluctantly had to push one out.
Well, Golden Axe.
It was like no Golden Axe. You've dropped something again, mate. No, it's actually a classical tune, but anyway, I've actually just typed SID Show 7, so that one's going to be dropped down. So these are one of them's a game, and 3 of them, one of them's an old bit of music, and the other 3 are all, from what I gather, original pieces. So this is by a chap, apologies for my pronunciation, called Volker Mites, and it's a title called Sadly Fading. Now I did check that that thing that you sent me last night, and I couldn't see it, so hopefully it's not one that anyone else has picked. So let me go to share screen, and it's Chrome tab, and then it's share audio. And we take that and share. Hopefully it doesn't crash it. Can you see that okay?
Yep.
Okay, and we just click on loop. Why is that not like? Do you got to start it?
Got to click on the song first, mate.
Right, okay, and then loop. There we go. Short but nice.
Very chilled out.
Weird is the word that springs to mind with me. I don't think it's another listen or two. I'm not sure if I rate it or not. I certainly don't think it's shit, but yeah, weird. I've not heard anything like that on 64.
It's maybe not the best tune, but I just think, I mean, it's phenomenal when you actually listen to it. It's almost like a guitar solo. The fact that these noises are coming out of C64, I just think is mind blowing. It's absolutely mental.
Yeah, I was thinking that when it was playing, you could almost imagine someone with an acoustic guitar in the background and someone playing lead over the top of it.
Yeah,
and I've got to say that the lead sounds were very reminiscent of Jar and Tell, I thought. Which is not a
certainly
bad
high
thing.
praise. Yeah.
No.
They were. I mean, I'll certainly go along with what you two are saying. Definitely has guitar solo sounds in bits. Other bits of it sounded a bit like sort of some of the improvised starts that Jar used in some of his concerts at the intro to various pieces. Yeah, what a mixture. I'll have to give that one another listen.
I think, yeah. No, definitely worth listening to again. But I think, as I said, it's not maybe the best tune, but I just think it's as a noise to come at the C64. I think it's up there. It's a total flip side to the one we've just had from Martin Galway. Quite simplistic sort of voices, but it's got a nice tune. Whereas that's technically, if you wanted to impress your Spectrum friends, let them listen to that and say, "Can your little beeper thing do that?" I don't think so.
Well, yeah.
I get the feeling two of us biting our tongues, shall we say?
Moving swiftly on, Panther. What's your first tune?
Right.
Yeah.
Right, you really want me to move swiftly on, do you? That's half your channel, bleeding got the hump with you. Well done, Al. My first one is a tune from 2018, and it's by a guy called Michael Zerman, who also goes by the name Mr. Mouse. And this is the guy that designed the FM Yam cartridge, the add-on on the C64 that allows you to play FM music. So he's quite musically minded, and the tune I've chose from him is a song that's got a strange name, and the tune's called "Downhill Rocks Roll the Best." There you go. And that's another kind of chilled out starting tune. We've all had pretty chilled out starting tunes tonight. I like that one because it's got quite a, well, to my ears anyway, it's got quite a heavy bass sound. And it's got lots of little touches that the 64 has had. And it's got that sort of 64 whine to it as well in the leads. And it's kind of, I don't know, it's like an amalgamation of everything the 64 could do, but without any of the white noise drum effects. Yeah, I thought it was just something different.
Yeah, I got to be honest, it didn't grab me. I don't know if it's the way it was coming through on my headphones and that. I'll have to have another listen when we got the re-recorded ones. To me, the bass sounded very, very quiet. I couldn't hear it too good. So maybe I'm missing something as a result of that. But yeah, it sounded quite sort of empty, very, very sort of like spatial. But going by the look on your face, I'm saying, yeah, I must have missed something there. It obviously wasn't coming through too well. But yeah, I couldn't hear the heavy bass, that's for sure, which is a shame because a lot of the time, a really good bass track and a really good drum track can really make a great SID. And if I'm not hearing them too good, that's probably what has spoiled it for me.
No, I enjoyed it. As you say, a very, very chilled out piece of music. It did kind of, the bass faded quite a bit, the volume, about a minute to go. I don't know whether that was just the deep SID channel or not. I don't know. But I don't think the bass, it didn't overpower the track. And it's only when the sort of the lead faded, you could hear it. But yeah, very impressive. I liked that a lot. Nice.
Yeah, it's just one that grabbed me. I think that was possibly as well, maybe there's a bit of nostalgia, because even though it's only a couple of years old, I think that was the first track on the first Chip SID show my mate Max does I ever listened to. So I kind of remember that sort of the start of that song. But yeah, well, it'd be boring if we all loved the same thing, wouldn't it? I just quite like that one myself.
Yeah, nice. Lovely. Back to you, Mr. L. Tune number 2.
Number 2. Well, this one then, it's by Johan Ostrand, who also goes by the name of Zyron. It's a cover. You all know the original version. The original version is also the ringtone on my phone. So, yeah, what a claim to fame. So, well, it's Telstar. There you go.
Well, they've captured that, Will.
I don't know if it's just my imagination, but whenever I hear that particular version, I think if Bad Manners had done a cover of Telstar, it would have sounded just like that. It's got that Scar sort of sound to it, hasn't it?
Yeah,
You
it
just
has, yeah.
You just want to get up and dance when you hear that. I mean, I've only got 2 words to say. Fucking superb. That's what it's. I actually forgot all about that tune. It's a brilliant tune. That's a fantastic version. It's got everything. It's a happy tune. It's punchy. It's uplifting. You know, brilliant. That's going to take a lot of beating tonight. That's all I can say. It's a brilliant tune.
I'm sure it will
Loved it.
get beaten.
Brilliant. That's excellent. Good choice.
Yeah, that tune, I don't know why, but that tune just reminds me of Christmas. And I know it's not a Christmas song. There's just something about it. Perhaps I've heard it most sort of around that time when I was a kid or something.
Wait a minute. I'm trying to think. What was the tune to the High Chaparral? Was that not very similar?
Actually, it was. Yeah, there's bits of it.
I'm sure that was.
Yeah. I mean, I know the High Chaparral theme, but yeah.
Anyway, not a good choice. Not much to say about that one.
When we were doing, I think it was SID 4, and you were saying about how you thought that Kraftwerk had, started electronic music. I mean, do you know when the original version of that song came out?
75 or something, was it?
Well, Telstar. Try 1962.
Really?
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
It came out around the time that the Telstar satellite was launched.
Right. And was that just played on an electronic organ or something? Or
He had a very early synth.
62. Christ, even I wasn't born then. Bloody hell.
Sure.
Yeah, he's going back.
I wasn't born then. No, I wasn't. Fucking hell, unbelievable, eh?
Yeah, I didn't realise it was that old. I would have said sort of like, 67, 68 or something. I didn't realise it was that old.
Well, so I always thought it was something like 67, 68. It was only like last night I was playing it and I was just looking through on YouTube and I saw, got to number 1 in here and in the US. 1962. Fucking unreal.
That explains why it's on your Facebook feed today.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was going through a bit of a music.
I noticed something had insomnia last night. Bloody hell.
Yeah, big time.
I was even listening to the Hurdy-Gurdy Man at about 5 o'clock this morning.
Dolly, that's a great song, that is. Well, you want to hear a good version, listen to the cover version by Butthole Surfers. That is a great version.
I'll take your word for it.
He's not wrong either. Yeah, no, I think I'm not one of these people that all my mates put something up, I'll like it or whatever like that. But I could not comment on Nantucket Sleigh Ride.
Fantastic song, that, isn't it? Eh?
Well, that makes me think of Brian Walden.
Well, yes, it always does. And I did look, I couldn't find a SID cover of that one.
Fantastic one. Right, back to myself, I believe. Right, I'm going to take this up a wee bit. Now, hold on to your seats for this one. This is, I'll apologise about the pronunciation, Peter Nagy Miklos, and in brackets, Necropolo. Is he familiar to any of you guys?
I know the name Necropolo, yeah.
Yeah, and this is called Cadmium. There you have it.
Well, I'm stunned, to be honest with you. I don't take this the wrong way out, because it's no way meant to be an insult. But normally, you stay in safe SID territory. For you to pick something as off the wall as that by Necro Polo, I applaud you, mate. That is like the complete other end of the, the sound that the SID chip can make to everything else we've played tonight. And it's so off the wall. It's brilliant. Really, really good. I can't wait to have that play through my dual SIDs to hear how the weird filter sounds through the surround sound. Really good. Really nice one.
That was the polar opposite of the very first song we heard, where it was kept very simple, but the music was great. I thought that showed a lot, a hell of a lot of technical ability. That was impressive. I hate the song. I thought it was awful. I can't be honest. Yeah, it wasn't my thing at all.
I just kind of think if there was like thrash metal, that was kind of the C64's equivalent. I just loved the bass. I mean, just to kind of answer what you were talking about there, Panther, I'm conscious my SID tunes knowledge is just really is games, and I'm conscious the last 6 shows or 5 shows, whatever, it's just been games, and that's why I want it. There's about another 35,000 tunes out there. And you've been at the forefront of picking more kind of modern ones, and that's why I wanted to kind of delve into the sort of the pool that is SID tunes and just kind of come up with some new stuff. I liked it. I just think it was maybe it kind of lost the tune a wee bit now and then, but I just think as a technical demo, I think it's mind blowing. I think some of the stuff, it'd be nice to hear that through kind of proper sound.
Yeah, as I say, from a technical aspect, the actual the actual audio itself was it was certainly impressive. I just did not like the actual composition, the song. An acquired taste, I think, is the term, isn't it?
I'm looking forward to hearing that through my dual SIDs. I mean, I noticed on the video there, he's actually part of Hakutu Force that do a lot of game trainers and intros and stuff like that. They're not pirates or anything. They just do the intros and you patch the discs yourself. But they also do a lot of good demos that have got the real flashy kind of zoomy out, scrolly graphics and that. And I would imagine I can just see that with loads of like really sort of in your face flashing lights going on. The sort of thing that you won't be able to watch probably. But yeah, I don't know. I want to listen to that one again. But the initial things that's really, really good. I do like the sounds.
I was a bit thrown at the start because the title was Cadmium, and I was thinking, why have we got this car engine revving away there? I couldn't make the connection there.
That in itself is an impressive sound, actually.
Oh yeah, exactly. That was well done, and it did sound impressive. But for me, that was a bit disjointed from the rest of it, which I personally think is a good thing. So yeah, that was well done. Well, the whole thing was well done. Like I keep saying, it's just not a good composition.
Just a tune. Good stuff. Before we go back to Panther, I think we should play Telstar again. Right, back to you, Mr. P.
Right, well, you know how you said I'm at the forefront of like finding new SIDs and stuff like that? Let's go back to 1986. There's one of the composers who is probably one of the most prolific during the day, and we don't play enough by him. So I want to play one by David Whittaker. And I'm going to, well, it should be my namesake, really, shouldn't it?
You're going to give us the name?
Oh, I thought you'd just throw it up and see it.
There we go.
I thought it was obvious. Sorry, mate. There you go. There is no one else on the 64 that sounds like David Whittaker, as far as I'm concerned. There's a few people that have got their own sound, without a doubt. It's the same as with any music. There's everyone that writes their own music has a defining sound. But David Whittaker, even his AY stuff sounds like he could be doing it on the SID chip, and he is one of the most, if not the most, perhaps with the exception of Richard Bayliss, that has literally done thousands of tunes, but he's the most prolific composer of game tunes through the 80s. And I didn't realise until I was lining this up, checking my songs out yesterday, I didn't realise that David Whittaker was as old as 63. And I was hoping to run into him last year when I went up to Hull, and I asked Chris Abbott about like David Whittaker and that, and he said he's totally stepped away from the scene. He's just, no animosity or anything. He's just drifted off and left it all behind, which is a shame because he's one of the people I'd like to have talked to, because he did the music for quite a lot of games that require sitting down and playing for a long time. So you're exposed to that tune for a great period of time, especially if it's in-game music.
Yeah.
So it is a shame, but yeah, that's got nothing to do with my username or anything like that. That's just a song that I've always liked. I mean, I don't actually mind the game, but yeah.
I totally agree with just about everything you said there. With David Whittaker, if you don't instantly spot that it's his from the percussion track, the instant like the main melody starts, you are left in no doubt as to who it is. His sound is that distinctive. I do like his stuff, and if I could meet anyone from the 64 era, I think I said in a previous video that I would certainly like to meet Fred Gray, and David Whittaker would be another, because there is no ego with the man whatsoever. He's very modest. He'll be the first to tell you he's not the most technically gifted of the big name SID musicians, but he really is like a perfect illustration of you don't have to be technically gifted. If you've got the ability to write music, it's going to sound good. He's the perfect example of that. The Panther music, I think, is not one of his best ones. That's just my opinion. But he's done far worse than that. I certainly wouldn't say it's a bad piece. I can't stand the game myself. It's definitely one of those where download the SID file and you got the best thing about it, as far as I'm concerned. But I mean, a lot of the time with David Whittaker stuff, particularly what you were saying about his music gets used quite a lot in games where you're playing them for quite some time. That's why back in SID 2 I had Stormbringer. I mean, if you're playing that, you're hearing that tune loop around, fuck knows how many times. But thankfully, it's a fucking great tune. That is still my favourite David Whittaker piece.
Yeah. No, I pretty much echo what you guys have said. I mean, I'm probably not a massive David Whittaker fan. I think a lot of his tunes are very plinky plonky, but they're quite uplifting. But I like that one. It had a good kind of bass line to it. Can't remember the game. I'm sure I played the game on Sunday, did I not?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, it's a very brown, futuristic Blue Max type thing, where you got to pick the men up and.
I can't remember. But no, great tune. I didn't realise he was 62. Believe me. Is he old? Is he older than Rob Howard then? Is he?
I think he is. But there's not much in it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't remember how old Rob is now.
Just that completely off. Well, not off the topic as such. Obviously, the SID tunes, from the sort of mid '80s to whenever until when the C64 stopped being a commercial thing. These guys were probably given, right, you've got 10k, go and do your stuff. It's based around this game, whatever. So probably these guys, your Martin Galways, your Whittakers, your Hubbards, whatever, they really had their hands tied. So do you think that what they managed to do compared to, I mean, now, like a lot of the tunes that probably the ones that I've featured today, these guys were compiling purely SID tunes, so they had the whole 64K. Do you think it's what these guys achieved back in the day is more impressive technically? Or not technically, but you know what I mean, than nowadays, because they've not got a game to worry about. They've just got all the resources for a tune. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense, and I think to a certain degree, yeah, because they did have less to work with, as you say.
Yeah, but that said, a lot of the modern SIDs, it's not like they're enormously big. I mean, there's still plenty of the modern SIDs. They're still single figures in terms of the file size. So yeah, I'm not sure about that. Yeah.
As for having their hands tied, it depends what they were told. I put a video up on one of my SID Effects ones of a medley of all of Ben Daglish's Last Ninja music. It's like 20 minutes long. And at the end, when I was doing the video, I wanted to get a quote from him because it was like my little tribute to Ben. And the quote I found was from him when he had to do the game, and he was basically said, for doing the music, it was like, what sort of game is it? And they just said, it's an Oriental fighting game, pretty much. And that's what he was told, and he come up with the Last Ninja music. So he was basically given free rein by System 3 to do anything, as long as it sounded maybe a little bit Asian or a little bit Oriental or something like that.
Utterly nailed it. Yeah. No, that was nice. That was a good one.
I would imagine the only time that there was any sort of creative limitation is if they were doing a game that was based on an officially licensed title, and they probably felt obliged, right? We got to do a version of like the television theme tune or the film theme or something like that. I think that could well be the only time that there was anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, interesting. Right, back to you, Mr. L, I think. You all teed up and ready to rock?
Back to me. I almost feel like I need to show you my list to prove that this is genuinely purely coincidental, because my next choice is some bloke who goes by the name of David Whittaker. 1986. This is Glider Rider. Yeah. Now, do we pretend that we didn't say all that stuff about David Whittaker at the last video and just say it all again for this one?
Well, I actually listened to that track when I was doing my. I mean, I've got a list of a lot of songs for these because I mean these are. I'll be honest with you, doing these shows with you two, these are like my favourite videos to do, and I've got quite a lot of tracks continually going around my head or lined up for when we're going to be doing these again. And I was playing that track last night, and I was like, oh. But I really like Panther, and it's a little bit longer, and it was like that far away from us having a double there.
Oh, it is. I personally think it's second only to Stormbringer as far as his best on the 64. It's just something about that particular piece. It just works from start to finish. It's only a short little loop, 1 minute 40, but it's got everything, and it really is archetypal David Whittaker.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, even the AY version on the Spectrum and Amstrad of that tune, I think it might be the Spectrum 1281. Even that's a really good tune. It sounds almost the same, but it hasn't quite, and I'm sorry, Specky fans, hasn't quite got the bollocks that the SID has to it, because none of the other sound chips have.
I've never actually heard the AY version. I'll have to hear that at some point.
Yeah. Quintessential David Whittaker. It's punchy, it's uplifting. And I think he's one of these guys, when you hear a tune, you go, fuck, I didn't realise that was him. I mean, I didn't actually realise that.
Yeah, that does actually happen a lot. Yeah, you hear a tune and then someone says, oh, that's David Whittaker.
Yeah,
really?
Aye.
And he don't crop up a lot in games.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't a fan of the game, but again, I think that was one of these ones. I used to have it in disc, and I used to load it and just to really listen to the music.
The game, I don't think the game's too bad. It's not brilliant, but it's okay. It's fucking difficult.
Once you get the hang of taking off the side of a hill, it becomes a lot easier, but it's still difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent choice. Oh, quick drink of tea and I think it's back to myself. Right, sticking with game tunes.
I thought you were going to say sticking with David.
Yeah, you're all right. This was the one I wanted. Why I wanted you to send me the list last night, because I wasn't sure if this had cropped up. This is golden. No, it's not Golden Axe. I did check it, and it's not on your fucking list. So if I have played it, then it's your fault. This is by a certain Mr. Tim Follen, and it is the title tune, I believe, for Gauntlet 3. Yeah, there we have it.
There's
Am
a
I
saying.
going? Oh, go on.
I was going to say there's a saying that I think I've said it when I put one of his video or one of his tunes on YouTube, and I know Chris Abbott has said it to me a few times, and that is can never have too much Tim Follin. And I like the way a lot of Tim's stuff, like Ghouls and Ghosts, is another one, and Black Lamp. They have these really sort of like quiet pieces in there with little wibbly sounds and little whistly sounds, and he's another one that's got his own sound. No one else sounds like Tim Follow. All right, his brother Jeff sounds a bit like him, well, especially when they work together on a tune like that. But he's another one. It's just think about his music, especially when you hear it stereoed up, that it really does. It's atmospheric is the word I think I'm looking for. Very atmospheric music.
Yeah, I think he's probably the king of composing a piece that goes with the game. I mean, he did, was it Ghouls and Ghosts, I think it was, along with Neil Brennan, who did Way of the Exploding Fist and Way of Fist 2. They're just, the tunes that they put out absolutely nail the game content. It's a short piece, but I think it's a beautiful piece.
I'm not hugely familiar with Tim Follin's stuff, largely because he did have this unfortunate tendency of being drafted in to do music for games that were a bit shit, at least as far as I'm concerned. I mean, surely neither of you can say you think Gauntlet 3 is a good game.
Never played it. Never played it.
It's fucking awful. So yeah, I'm not hugely familiar with it. The other thing is, and there really is no reason for it, I always get him mixed up with Mark Cooksey. And I think in the last video I made it quite clear what I think of his music. But I think Tim Follin's a downside better than that. I thought that was, not bad. Easily the best thing about Gauntlet 3, though that really is damning with faint praise. It has quite a lot of atmospheric parts in it, which, given the right game or the right sort of platform, if it's a game or a demo or whatever, always does work really well, and this is no exception. So it got more right than wrong. I wouldn't say I was a huge fan of it, but I've heard way worse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good. Right, back to you, Mr. P.
Right. Back many, many moons ago in our first SID show, a certain bloke with a lot more hair than me and you picked a song by Fred Gray called Mutants. If you've ever wondered what a version of Mutants Revisited by Jason Page would sound like on a C64, then you're in for a treat. We've waited with bated breath to what Mr. Lukozer is going to say about that because I happen to know that Mutants is one of his favourites. But I've got one question. I'm gonna probably send this to Jason because I normally do. And even though I've watched his videos and I've watched him use SID tracker on the iPad, which completely transposes across to the SID chip, my question to Jason Page is, how the fuck do you make a Commodore 64 make that noise?
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the voices that he was using were just unbelievable. Never heard them before. You know, you think it was like an Amiga or something you're listening to at some points here. Impressive. I'll leave it to Mr. L, as you say, it's one of your favourites.
Yeah, it's my favourite Fred Gray track, and Jason Page plays Fred Gray. Just hearing that, you already know it's going to be fucking great, and yeah, it doesn't disappoint at all, does it? It's fucking superb. I think you may have had a slight inclination that I was going to be impressed with it, but yeah, I mean, you cannot fault it. But yeah, there are parts in there where he's got like very heavy like wah-wah effect, and I just think, how the fuck do you do that? I mean, there's filters, and then there's surely that is not just a case of applying filters to that particular note there. I can't even begin to figure out how he does it. I'll tell you what, if Fred Gray himself ever hears it, I'm surely he must have done. You two have both seen Bedrooms to Billions, and in that when he was talking about when he was composing Mutants, and he was saying, "I got to give a shout out to all the people who do remixes and that," and he's a huge fan. And he actually said, a lot of the time they do a much better job of it than I did in the first place. I have absolutely no doubt if Fred Gray heard that, he would be, seriously impressed. He says in it, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. If people want to cover his compositions, he takes that as a big compliment. And when it sounds as good as that did, that is that's just the business, that thing.
The only thing I can come up with how Jason gets a lot of his sounds is that one was done at 4 times, so you can fit.
All right, yeah.
Because it's going 4 times faster. I might get this wrong, and if I do, I hope he'll put a comment in if he sees it and explains it better than me. But I'm pretty sure that's like taking 4 lots of instruments and then putting them in one bar. So you've got 4 times as much stuff going on within say the same second. You've got 4 seconds worth of stuff, and it's the way he does it, and that gives him a lot more space to fit lots of instruments within that one little section. Something like that. I mean, I sound like a proper thicko, just the way I'm trying to explain it.
No, I know what you're saying. Yeah, because when he's composing it, he's basically composing it at 25% of the speed that you're hearing it during playback. So yeah, it gives him more time to apply, more like effects, more filters or whatever to each bar. Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. It almost makes it sound like, it sounds like it's quite easy to do, but I bet it fucking well ain't.
Well, I mean, you shared a video of him showing how he did some of his stuff with the SID Tracker app on the iPad, I believe, quite a while ago now.
Was that me who sent that to you? If it's the video I'm thinking, I thought it was the other way round.
Oh no, that's it. Yeah, I sent it to you. You sent me the one about the SID Wizard one with the Argentinian fella.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that. I remember sending you that one.
Yeah, I don't know if in that case, and I don't know if you watched that video I sent you.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
but yeah, he does kind of explain in that what he's doing a little bit.
That's the thing about the early years of the SID chip. You know, when Mr. Hubbard and Martin Galway came along, they were putting out some great tunes, and like David Whittaker as well. But none of the instruments were they weren't real sounding instruments. They didn't sound like real instruments. They sounded Commodore 64, and it didn't detract from them. But now you've got guys like Jason Page doing whatever it is he does, and they've now got like real sounding instruments coming through, and that's just incredible. You know, again, when you, it's easy to kind of for us to be sitting here with our headphones and bringing up tunes on a website, but to actually have a beige coloured bread bin sat underneath your CRT and having that tune coming out of this bit of plastic, that's when you realise, fucking hell, how the hell do they do that? You know, just incredible.
Yeah, definitely.
I think the big sort of like advance has been in the drum sound and percussion sound. That's where you can hear the big difference, you know, of stuff that's been composed in, say, like the last 5 years, and compare it to stuff that was in, you know, like 86, 87, 88. The drum sound is just so much better. I mean, I can understand why some of the composers, Fred Gray is one, although not all the time, and Martin Galway was certainly one. They freely admitted their drum sound was awful, so they just didn't bother using it. Because I don't think Fred Gray had a percussion track for the original version of Mutants. So that's an addition that Jason Page has put in. But as he always seems to do whenever he does these sort of covers, he just gets it absolutely fucking bang on. It's timed to perfection.
Yeah, smashing. So yeah, it's back to yourself, Mr. L, for your tune number 4, I think it is.
Right. Well, it's going to start looking like my list has been done in conjunction with Chris, because my next one is by Fred Gray. And, well, we've already certainly well established that my favourite track of his is Mutants. My second favourite is probably the piece that he is most well known for, and it's the one that, although he had already been he'd already done several pieces, this was the one where he suddenly like really burst onto the scene. So this is Shadowfire.
uplifting bit of music. I mean, I hated the game. I couldn't figure it out. I know you'll find that hard to believe, Lukozer, but I could not figure out how to play that fucking game. But I used to load it just for the music.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the game at all. But yeah, the music, was superb. So he was already established. He's already done like a few, not a huge amount by the time this came out, and again in the Billions to Billions video, and he's talking about when he composed this piece. It was at the time when SID music was moving on from the simple jingles at the start of levels to actual out and out music, and whereas everybody was sort of thinking of doing just electronica, which seemed like the logical choice. Okay, we're going to do that sort of music. He's thinking of, right, I want it to sound like an orchestra, and he says himself, sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. This time it worked.
Yeah, I mean, you can hear that being done on strings. It's a really good piece of music, and I wasn't a fan of the game either. I thought it had some nice ideas, but it was another one I used to end up loading for the music. I had a Action Replay 4 cartridge, and what I used to do is I had a C90 with all the little tape numbers on it, and I used to basically wait for the game to load, as long as they took sometimes, freeze frame it, and save it out as a quick load file, just so I could load the music up, and they became my music tapes. I just needed. They weren't very portable because carrying at the time would have been a television, and a tape deck.
A TV strapped to each ear, with a bit of string in the middle. Yeah, I suppose when you think about it, the very, I mean, I don't know how to put a timeline on it, but I mean, the music generally, apart from Forbidden Forest, the music from sort of like the birth of the C64, I think am I right in thinking? I mean, what would you say was the first decent SID tune apart from Forbidden Forest?
Well, I can never remember when Forbidden Forest was done.
1983, and I know that because I'm in the process of making a video, so that featured in it.
No, I do like Forbidden Forest, the game. I'm not a huge fan of the music, but I know Paul Norman's music is very divisive. You either love it or you hate it. Mind you, that said, I wouldn't say I hate it. I'm just not really a fan. For me, the first one I heard that I would say was a great piece of music was from an 84 game, which we did a few videos back, and that would be Alien.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it'd be a toss-up between Alien or Aztec Challenge, because I really like the music from that as well.
Actually, yeah, what I was just saying about Paul Norman, I do think the music in Aztec Challenge is good.
There's a couple of metal versions of that, either on the remix.qued.org website or on YouTube. I think it might be Press Play on Tape, the band doing it live, and they're not particularly thrashy or heavy, but that played with covered strings is really, really heavy.
Yeah, I bet it does sound good actually. I wasn't aware that there was a version of it. Now that I found out, I know what I'm doing after this bit.
Yeah, but like I said, I think that the first 2-3 years, apart from the odd really nice SID tune, most of the stuff was just covers. It was classical, as you say, and then Fred Gray decided, well, fuck it, I don't have to make a version of a Jean-Michel Jarre. I can actually do something a bit different and actually compose something original, The
weird thing is, like he says himself, sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. The one where I think it worked best of all was on a truly awful game, and it was also one of the very few games that he did the music for on the Amiga, and that was Eco. Now, the game is utter shit. Yeah. And to be honest, the music is not brilliant either. It's certainly not one of Fred Gray's best. But when you listen to it, you can easily hear how that could be played with an orchestra.
Can't remember the music, but I remember the game was a bit up itself, wasn't it? Quite pretentious, and there was no game. It was a good idea, but the game was shit.
Yeah, basically it was hold the mouse button down over one icon and just watch what happens on screen and hope for the best. That was it.
Yeah, talking of orchestras, I'll probably have a lynch mob fucking chase me around if I don't mention that there will probably be a Kickstarter next month for the 8-Bit Symphony Part 2. So, just in case any of your listeners and viewers are interested.
Yeah, just send me if there's a link to Panther, send me it, and I'll stick it in the description.
Well,
below
there's
this
not
video.
yet because it's not live yet. But when it's up, I mean, I'll probably make a short video, and I know there'll be loads of stuff on C64 audio. But I mean, it's you're looking at stuff like Zoids and stuff like that, so should be rather good.
Yeah, I look forward to that. Right, back to myself. Sticking with original stuff. Hopefully you guys will like this one. This is by a chap called Soren Lund, or Jeff, and this is called a Volver 6581. There we have it.
Definitely some interesting sounds on that one. That reminded me, to start with, of something very, very French sounding. But as soon as you see the Maniacs of Noise logo on there, you know you're going to be in for a treat.
Yeah. He was only with them for a short time, though, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I wonder why that was. Brave choice of music to do. Doing slow tempo electronica of any kind, let alone chip tunes, regardless of chip, is really, really hard. If you get it just slightly wrong, it can become boring. So you got to give him credits, or at least even having a stab at it. But anyone who is a former member of Maniacs of Noise and also a cosign clearly knows their stuff, and that's a great example. Good stuff there.
I quite like the little kind of drum sort of solo about 3/4 of the way in. I thought it was pretty impressive. But yeah, nice tune.
Yeah, I really like the sounds at the beginning. Really sort of reminded me of that kind of like I said, French sounds, kind of like that French marketplace. Where you got someone playing one of the like squeeze boxes, and it was that kind of sound. Yeah, that was a really good tune. Good pick, mate.
Not playing Band in the Rain, were they, by any chance?
Excellent, right? I think it's a second last for you, Panther.
Yeah. Now we were talking about ages earlier on, and we said about how old David Whittaker was, and we wondered how old Rob Hubbard is. Well, I've just discovered by looking that he's if he hasn't already got it, he's due to get his bus pass this year. And I present to you a longish song, but not that long. Light Force. Now, your listeners, viewers, are in for a more of a treat than we were, because I've often said when we've been doing waffles and stuff on your channel, Al, that the one thing they haven't quite got right yet with SID emulation is the filters. And that song, Rob used all of the filters and then some. That is one of the most filter-heavy SID tunes there is. So for us listening then straight from an emulated site, when you listen to the video I put up on YouTube, or the recording we'll put over this of Lightforce recorded on dual SIDs, it's something else. It's a room filler. When that bass kicks in, all of a sudden it comes out the back, it comes out the front, it comes out of everywhere. And I really like that song. I really, really do. That's a good strolling song, that one.
Yeah, that is definitely one where I'm going to have to hear the playback once it's actually go and watch your video of where you've already re-recorded it with the two SIDs. Yeah, the amount of filters, it's almost sounded like it was sending the thing haywire over the internet here. And there are bits of it, I was trying hard not to laugh because it was starting to sound such a mess. And I just thought, well, this isn't right. This can't be how it sounded, because there is no way Rob Hubbard would have, allowed a piece of music of his to be published while it was still in that state. So I may have to reserve judgment until I hear it how it should have sounded. If anything, it sounded like he used a few too many filters. But like I say, I suspect that is a problem with the emulation, and it just didn't sound right on the playback there. It's not one that I'm overly familiar with. I didn't have the game back in the day. The game itself never grabbed me, so I never got to hear that particular piece that much.
Yeah, I think you're going to be in for quite a shocking treat.
Yeah, I look forward to hearing it. As Lukozer said, there was bits where it kind of sounded a wee bit almost unfinished, and I think again it's probably just down to the fact that this isn't emulating the SID chip, because anything you can virtually guarantee. I don't think Rob Hubbard has put out a bad SID. You know what I mean? I'd probably say that might have been one of them, but yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing the proper how it should be done on the dual SID.
I mean, it does sound totally different, but I wanted to play Lightfall, so I knew we'd be overlaying it, and I knew it was a risk I was going to take that it weren't going to come across right on the deep SID. And normally, I mean, deep SID's pretty spot on, but Rob used so many filters on that track. But the actual track itself sounds fine. It's definitely another load it for the music job, because the game was a fairly run-of-the-mill shooter. But that music is something else.
Look forward to it. Lovely. I think it's back to yourself, Mr. L. This is your fifth and final one, eh?
Last one from me, eh? Right. Well, for this, we're going back to Jason Page again. And this one is quite recent. Well, very recent, in fact, because it was made this year. And it's also a bit of a follow-on to a particular Jason Page SID piece that appeared back in SID 3, when we had Panther playing us his version of PantherUK, which I would go so far as to say I think is better than Chris Hillsbeck's original. Well, this is called PantherUK Rise of the Machine. There we go.
That
Now,
just sorry.
oh, go on.
No, I was just going to say that everything about that track, it just oozes quality. I mean, it's just you can't knock it. It's just the instruments he uses. It's just fantastic, amazing choice. Yeah.
Am I right in thinking that is not from an actual Turrican game?
I believe Chris Hulsbeck, he still uses his music for a lot of things, and he done some like Turrican box sets. And as far as I know, he made an album called Turrican Rise of the Machines, and that was one of the tracks on it, or Saints doing the Turrican stuff.
Well,
So I remember.
Oh God.
I was gonna say, I remember Jason putting that up on Facebook, and saying thanks to Chris Hulsbeck for giving him permission to do it, and I'm pretty sure that might be on an album somewhere that Jason's done as well.
Well, I think there was an album, like I say, it's called Turrican Rise of the Machine, and it's a joint venture by Chris Hulsbeck and Alistair Brimble. But it also mentions Jason Page, and I think what they've done is they've given him permission to basically make SID versions of, like, maybe even tracks of the entire album. In which case, you've got a three-way collaboration of Chris Hulsbeck, Alistair Brimble, and Jason Page. I mean, that's three big names to have working together on one project.
Mm.
That's three of my Facebook friends you're talking about there. Yeah, funnily enough, all lovely fellas as well. Really, 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 really lovely blokes. Yeah, again, he's done that as one of his 4 times SIDs thing, and every time he does one of them, it sounds like it's come straight off of the Amiga, but it's not.
Yeah.
There's not a single sample that I could tell in that.
No, it certainly doesn't look like there's any samples used there. I noticed also it's using an 8580, so yeah, it pulled out all the stops for that one.
Well, yeah, Jason normally uses an 8580 for all of his stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of the modern stuff, like L-Man, Marcus, and Tom Ditter. A lot of them use 8580s because, all right, you lost a lot of the sample track, and you lost some of the 6581 sounds, but the 8580 is basically what the SID chip should have been when Bob Yannis designed it, but didn't have the time to get all the bugs out of it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, a lot of the bugs.
The 8580 is what it should have been, and because it's got less glitches in it, all right, you lose, unless you really know what you're doing, you lose the sample track, which was a bug in the 6581.
Yeah,
a lot of the filters and that they used nowadays for the demos in the tunes they write, they tend to use an 8580 for a lot of it.
Yeah, I can certainly see why. There was one Jason Page track I found, and I was really tempted to put it on the list because it was a Jar cover of London Kid from Revolutions, and I was listening to it. Well, I forgot to actually check it while it was playing. It sounded absolutely fantastic until the drum track came in. The entire percussion drum track section was using samples, and to be brutally frank, they sounded fucking awful. And I was like, oh, it's ruined it. What I forgot to do was to have it playing with the other SID chip being emulated. I don't know if it would have saved it, but it was a real shame because it sounded like it was coming on really, really well, but the sampled drums didn't work. Not at all.
Yeah, quality
to try for the future, I suppose.
Good, right, back to myself for my last one. Now, I'll be honest, I actually heard this. I was going through some demos. In fact, it wasn't the demos. What was I playing? I was actually recording a game last night for one of my videos that's been it's been ongoing for about bloody 2 months. And I'm desperate. It's now at 3 hours 20, and I'm desperate to get to the end of it.
I thought you were about to say it's Rama Rama.
And You leave Rana, I'm out with this. Anyway, yeah, and this was one of the, you get the what's it called? You get the guy that lists all the instructions. What's he called? Doesn't matter. Anyway, and it had a tune, and this tune I thought that is damned impressive. And I eventually found out who it was, and I was absolutely flabbergasted when I found out that it was by this guy, who I used to be a hero of until I played all his games, and I thought most of them were shit. And it's Tony Crowther, and it's called Rat Demo Number 3. And there we have it.
Was that from a Wii Music demo?
It was called Rat Demo 3. I know Wii Music. He did that with Ben Douglas, didn't he?
Ben Douglas, yeah.
Yeah, but it's called Rat Demo now. Tony Crowther was called Rat, so I'm assuming he wrote. I mean, he's got the credit for that. I'm assuming he must have just done that. And what makes it all the more impressive is A, how old it is, 1986, and B, the fact that he was primarily known as a programmer rather than a musician. But I just think it's a really impressive little bit of music.
Yeah, it's definitely got some nice like echo modulation going on there, like the pulse waves going across the bottom on the scope. Yeah, I think Tony could turn his hand to anything. I mean, he's I still think probably his grand opus was possibly the game Captive on the Amiga. For the stuff that I played of his, but there's no denying his impact on early '64 games. With his collaboration he did with Ben Daglish, and that was quite a simple tune, like very simple voices and that, but they worked together to give it quite an atmospheric sound.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering if it was a Wii Music track, because it really did sound like one. I have definitely heard that before, and I've been listening to quite a few Wii Music tracks lately, because I've been determined to find one to put on here, because I've not actually had anything of Ben Daglish's in any of my lists yet, and I did actually find a couple of their tracks that I thought, yeah, that is good enough to put on, but obviously not for this one. And I am sure I heard that in one. I don't know how many releases they did. I think it was only 3, and there was like about 7 or 8 tracks in each one.
Mm-hmm.
but I'm sure that's where I heard it from. I agree with pretty much everything that Chris said there. It's that sort of like pulse sound with the echo. That's the real highlight. That is really well done. That that sounded good. The rest of it is a little bit disposable for me. But then, yet again, that was something I found with Wii Music stuff. It was just like, short, sharp, straight to the point. Not what you would call memorable, but for the moment that you're listening to it, yeah, it is good.
I think you need to factor in when it was 1986 again, which makes it all the more impressive. So I think that leaves us one more, and that'll be Mr. P.
Right, well, you both knew this was going to happen eventually because I've banged on about it enough. And I actually said to the musician in question that I said to him, one day I will get the whole of it on one of our SID shows. I said, because both of them are going to like it. So all your viewers out there, if you thought Hydrogenese by Tom Detert was long at 13 minutes last week, well, you better strap yourselves in because this, to date, is the longest SID ever recorded or ever composed on a Commodore 64, and it's the in-game title track, weighing in at 31 minutes and 57 seconds from Gordian Tomb by Thomas Detert. Have it.
Boom.
That went quick, didn't it? Somebody
I've
wake
lost
Lukozer up. You still with us, Chris? There he is. Right.
He just
I
grabbed
switched
40
everything
wings
off.
there, didn't you?
Right. What you need to bear in mind about that is a single load game. It's not a terrible game. It's bloody hard. Perhaps you should take it on after China Minor. And that game, pretty much, you've got a time limit of 32 minutes or just shy of 32 minutes in the game. And that when that music runs out, it's game over, no matter how many lives you've got left. And that piece of music, even with the title track, which is 2.5 minutes as well, is 0.1 short of 11K. And it's a single load game, and that plays all the way through it. And being an example architecture's game, the graphics are really nice. You know, It's a nice game. It's very smooth. It's fucking hard. But yeah, I mean, for me, that 32 minutes just flew past, and I'd say, thanks to you two for entertaining the idea of letting me do that, because I actually had to ask this time rather than just say, no, we're doing that. But worth every second and worth every penny.
Yeah. What I found interesting, I mean, when you told me it was 31 minutes long, I thought, fuck, it's just going to be just a loop constantly. But it changed all the time. And all right, to be fair, you could argue it was different. I'm sure he probably done it. He didn't do it in one sitting. It was different SID tunes, but it all did blend in very well. And I think the last couple of minutes it kind of got back to how it started. So it did kind of start. It had a middle, and then it had an ending. Really super impressive. And I think I was tapping my toes for most of it. Great. I mean, amazing. 31 minutes and 11K. Seriously. Big thumbs up for me, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know that one quite well. When it first got mentioned in the first video we did, I can't remember which Thomas Detert SID that you played in that first one, but then when you mentioned about this one being 32 minutes, I think it was a couple of days later I was listening to it, and yeah, I've listened to it quite a few times since. And like all music that is, or certainly sounds like it's prog rock influenced, I mean, I assume Thomas Detert is a big prog rock fan, because it really does sound like it influences just about every SID he's done. But yeah, like all prog rock influenced stuff, it does fly by. It's been a half hour, and it feels like it's been 10-15 minutes. Mm-hmm. Of all the SID musicians I've heard, there are only two that I could say I think are genuinely unique. And they're both ones actually that Chris has introduced us to. Marcus Klein and Thomas Detert. All these musicians, like I was saying with the Fred Gray about Shadowfire, all these SID musicians, as good as they are, and they are all fucking impressive, apart from Jim Cuomo, yeah, they do all seem to follow a very similar style. It is all out and out electronica, but those two just have gone off on a completely separate sort of, off on a tangent, and they have done what is essentially their own thing. I say Thomas Detert sounds like it's prog rock influence, but it is utterly unique. I mean, you could only, if you were to try and find a way of describing it, and the only way I can come up with to actually describe it is a Thomas Detert SID. And unless if you've not heard any of his stuff before, that would just sound utterly ridiculous. And once you start hearing his stuff and hear the fact that it is just totally different to everything else you have ever heard on the 64, it's the only way you can come up with to describe it.
Well, he's recently done his first SID in 20 odd years, and he's played me it, and the boys lost nothing. It's gonna be on a demo coming out whenever they've done it. But if we're still doing SID shows, then you can guarantee I'll be playing that one.
Yes, I can well believe it. To be honest, ever since you played the hydrogenes one that was that in the last one or the one before?
I think that's
I've
the
been
last
listening.
one, yeah.
I think it was the last one. Well, I've been listening to that more than the Gordian Tomb one. Does not in any way mean that I don't think less of the Gordian Tomb. But that one really did grab me. This one. It's one where you do have to be in the right sort of like frame of mind, the right mood to listen to it. But thankfully, I am in that mood an awful lot, So, it's utterly sublime. There are no superlatives that don't apply to it.
Well, I did say to Thomas that that song was worthy of Edgar Froese. He of Tangerine Dream.
Oh yeah.
Is that good? I mean, I've been friends with Tom on Facebook for a number of years, long before I got back into the 64 and that. And I sent him a friend request, and he added me. And the first thing I ever said to him was, "Hello, Tom. Thanks for adding me. Thanks for Gordian Tomb." And that was it. And that's where my sort of like online friend relationship with Tom started. And I like to think of him as a friend rather than just someone I know.
I think he does. He does watch these videos, doesn't he?
He does if I send him the link. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was quite worried about what we was going to say about hydrogenese because of the length of it. So he's going to be cacking himself for this one, isn't he? When I say to him, we've finally done it. I've got Gordian Tomb on there in its entirety. And the song I played in the first show was the other track, the Gordian Tomb. Just the beginning.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because I was tempted to play this then, but we was only for the first show. Other than our main track, we was only playing like 30 seconds, and
exactly. 30 seconds of this. It doesn't matter what part you play. It doesn't do anything like the justice it deserves. It's got to be played all the way through.
Of course, I've now got the perfect clickbait. I could put the world's longest SID tune in the world.
Yeah, it is. At the moment, it still is. I think the only one that comes close is Wally Beeben's Tetris music.
Yeah,
I think that's about 25 minutes. But this is still the longest one. And 11K. Or just shy of. 11 fucking K.
That's mean.
The thing about it is smaller in size than the entire Rambo soundtrack, including loading music.
Yeah. Must be a lot of compression and shit going on with that, I imagine. I don't know how it works.
And all that in three voices, no samples. And I've got to say, Tom is another musician that really nails the bass drum sound on the 64. Because it doesn't sound like white noise, it sounds like a bass drum.
No, I think we couldn't have finished on a better tune. That's awesome stuff. That's the thing I love about what we're doing here. It's purely from a selfish point of view. I'm getting my eyes, or should I say, my ears opened to there are other people who make tunes other than Galway and Rob Hubbard. You know what I mean? Thomas the I've never heard of him, and over these last sort of 6 shows that we've done, and I'm sure for everybody that listens to this, it's a chance to listen to new music.
Definitely.
Call us the John Peel of SIDS. We're bringing new old music to the masses. You know what I mean? So.
Well, John Peel's music taste was somewhat eclectic. I mean, if you like, next time I can certainly choose some sort of like John Peel-esque SIDs. That will make for some interesting listening.
Actually, I'll need to get going because my dog, I think he's probably done a piss downstairs, and I was that close to going and going down and cleaning it up, and I thought, no, fuck it, I didn't want to miss any of that, because it was such a joy to listen to. It really was. So anyway, I think time is ticking on. That wraps up another SID show. It's been an absolute cracker. I'm sure there'll be enough response. You know what? I don't give a shit what the response is. We're doing another one of these because I think we all enjoy making them.
Hey, I think it might be more than one.
Definitely. So, listen, thanks to my two colleagues for joining me tonight, my fellow hosts. It's always a It's always a pleasure to have you guys on. And finally, thanks to everybody that watched it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Please put your comments down below. Until the next time, guys, take care. See you soon.
Yeah.